Hey guys, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. Today is the third community spotlight of the Open Web Foundry 7. And today we have a really good lineup of new projects as well as an alumni headliner, Pianity, who I think took place in the fourth Open Web Foundry. We're now on the seventh one, so it's been a while now. And they've been working on something really important that they're going to share with us. So yeah, without further introduction, here's the Pianity team talking about the new thing they're working on, ArSnap.
Hello everyone. So I'm here today with Noom. So yeah, as Jesse said, we participated also at the Open Web Foundry about a year ago. And our goal at Pianity is to make NFTs, and in particular music NFTs, accessible to anyone. So we basically allow musicians to turn their music into limited editions through NFTs. We are entirely based on Arweave, so the data is stored on Arweave, but the smart contract is also on Arweave, so all the NFTs are atomic NFTs. And so from the beginning, we wanted, to have a very simple way to connect to Pianity, and so that's why you can pay with credit card. You don't even have to have a wallet on Pianity. And we decided to create ArSnap a few months ago because the Ethereum community, as you know, is the biggest, and MetaMask has 30 million users, right? And our goal is to make them come to the Arweave ecosystem. And we think that the best way to that is that MetaMask become compatible with Arweave as well. And so Eyal Noom here is actually the developers actually developing the application. And so he's gonna present you the application and do a little demo about it. And so the goal for us today is to have as many people contribute to this project and to have as many projects using ArSnap so that it becomes the norm and so that we can attract as many users as possible.
Thank you, Kevin. So I should be broadcasting my screen right now. Can you confirm?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll go over a few points. First, I'll describe what's exactly a snap, why we thought making the ArSnap project was a good idea in the first place. Then I'll go over the different components composing the ArSnap project, and then our plan forward, our plans for the future of ArSnap, and then I'll describe some ways that you can start contributing to the project right now, and we'll finish with a little demo showcasing the wallet, the adapter, and if I have the time, the compatibility layer, which I'll talk about later. So what's a snap? A snap is basically a plugin living inside MetaMask. It runs, it's only available currently on MetaMask Flask, which is basically its developer preview branch. So it's still very experimental, but we can already build a lot of stuff with it, as you'll see. So the snap runs isolated inside MetaMask, which means that it doesn't have any access in anything inside your browser except for what MetaMask allows it to see. So the features of Snap is exposed through an RPC API. So why the ArSnap project? As Kevin said, the MetaMask community is of approximately 30 million users and still growing. So we thought it was an amazing opportunity for the Arweave ecosystem as a whole to import and allow these users to interact with the growing ecosystem of dApps on Arweave. And we also saw it as a opportunity to build a super user-friendly wallet with a developer-friendly API. So the ArSnap project as a whole is composed of four key components. First, the ArSnap, which, as I said before, is the plugin that will run inside MetaMask. Then we have the adapter. The adapter is basically a simple library. That's what you'll use if you want to support ArSnap into your dApp. It's basically defining ArSnap's API, and it exposes it through various simple functions that you can call in your dApp. It's going to make the communication between the dApps you're developing and ArSnap super easy, so you won't have to worry about all the RPC stuff. Then the wallet. The wallet is the reference wallet for ArSnap. It'll allow you to do anything you do with a regular wallet. So you'll be able to manage your Arweave keys. You'll be able to send ARs. You'll be able to see all your transactions. And because of a current limitation of the Snap system, we're not able yet to modify the MetaMask UI and to extend it. So in order for the users to be able to access to every functionalities that ArSnap exposes, we have to expose it through a separate UI. That's also the purpose of the wallet. So you'll be able to configure ArSnap. You'll be able to select the active wallet that you want to use in dApps, as you would do with ArConnect right now. You'll be able to change the gateway you want to use. You'll be able to review the usage that dApps makes of your different keys. And you'll be able to manage the permissions that you granted to all these dApps. So for this, we took a lot of inspiration from ArConnect. We basically re-implemented the permission system inside ArSnap. That means that every dApps by default doesn't have any permission to access your ArSnap keys. So they'll have to request, for example, if they want to sign a transaction with your wallet, there will be a specific permission they'll have to request for that. Same if they want to list your different wallets, if they want to access the current wallet's address, and all of that. So you'll be able to, as a user, see all the permissions that you granted and then revoke them individually if you want so. Then how do you access this wallet? There would be a lot of different ways, as this is a completely open source project. We can imagine dApps would be able to host their own instance of ArSnap, although we don't think that's actually a good idea, because it would mean that you would be giving away the permissions to your keys to many instances of ArSnap, which is not desirable for security concerns. So of course, we'll be deploying, and it's already the case, we'll be deploying every new version of the ArSnap wallet on the PermaWeb. And you'll be able to visit the URL arsnap.org in order to be redirected to the latest version on the PermaWeb. And then lastly, we have the compat package, which is a shorter name for compatibility layer. If you're a dApp developer and you already integrated the use of ArConnect into your dApp, then you'll probably won't want to have a ton of additional work to do in order to also support ArSnap. So we basically found a super easy solution. We're committed to make this as easy as possible for you to also expose your users to ArSnap. So you'll be able to just import a script into your page, and then all the functionalities of ArSnap will be exposed through the same API as RConnect. So you won't actually have any work to do on your part. Going forward, we have many other ideas of what we want to achieve with ArSnap. There's a ton of features that we want to add, of course. For example, ArSnap, the package ArSnap, the plugin, isn't yet uploaded to the PermaWeb. Will be, because it's not currently possible with the Snap system as it is today, although it will be possible in the future to add new sources in order to have the ArSnap package on the PermaWeb instead of the NPM registry as MetaMask requires now. For the wallet, of course, we'll be supporting private sharing tokens, and also will be allowing users to display their NFTs on their wallet, NFTs that they would own from the various Arweave marketplaces. And for Compat, the way it works actually currently is that it overrides the injected script of RConnect, and then replaces all the functions by calls to the adapter. So that's not a desirable behavior, as it would be effectively disabling RConnect on your website. So we'll consider Compat currently as a proof of concept, but we'll be looking for ways in order to put the user in control of what wallet they want to use for what apps in the most easy way possible and the most intuitive way. There is also a ton of improvement that we want to make to the documentation. We have plans for making a centralized base of knowledge that will be basically a whole guide to make you go from 0 to 1 with ArSnap. We'll also write a detailed roadmap in order for people to know where we're headed to with ArSnap, what we want to do, and also to direct the contributing efforts. And in this spirit, there's actually already a ton of ways that you can start contributing to ArSnap. You can obviously start building with it, start using the API, start using the adapter, and report bugs. Give us feedback on anything that comes to your mind, the API, the permission system, or as a user, feedback on the wallet as well, so that we can improve it. So feel free to ping me on GitHub. My username is Noom, and there's actually a dedicated channel that was opened yesterday on the official server of Arweave on Discord, which is ArSnap-MetaMask. So now I'm gonna show you quickly a demo, like how, as a dApp developer, you would start playing with ArSnap. So I went ahead before the presentation and I cloned the repository, as you can see here. Then you would have to cd into that and run yarn in order to install all the different dependencies. And then you would have to run yarn build in order for basically all the library, ArSnap, and the adapter to be available. So now I'm gonna head over to the adapter package, in which there's actually an example. So you can run the example by running yarn example. I'll also head over to the wallet package where I'll be running it. Okay, so now I can go to this URL and I should find the wallet, hopefully. So here is the wallet I was talking about. The first step with the wallet is, of course, to connect with MetaMask. So this is asking me basically if I want to install ArSnap into MetaMask. And then the wallet will be requesting all the required permissions. So you can review them. And if you're okay with it, you can approve. And now you're on the wallet. So you'll have the list of transactions. There's actually a default wallet created at the initialization of the snap. So you can use it. You can, of course, create a new wallet. You can load an existing one. I'll create a new wallet right now and name it. So now I have two wallets. I can choose which one I want to select. And now I'll demonstrate the use of a very simple app. So here we are. It's a very simple usage demonstration of the adapter. So imagine this is your dApp. You would want your user to connect to the snap so that you have the permission. Then you need to actually request the permission that you'll need to have in your dApp in order to do anything you want. So now you can start playing with it, and so I can actually display the address and the address that is currently selected. So if I go over here, I can see this is the address that's being displayed. So if I change the wallet to the other one, we'll see the other address being displayed. So we can also try to sign some content and see it printed on the console. I'm not sure I have the time to show the compat package.
Yeah, you could go ahead if you want. Oh, there you go.
Okay, cool. So to demonstrate the compat package, I also wrote a simple example. The example is actually almost the exact same as the previous one. The difference is that if we go check its code, we can see that all the calls I am making are using to the wallet, sorry. They are using the ArConnect API. So if I go over to the example and I try to connect, you'll see that it's not actually using ArConnect, it's using ArSnap. So I can connect to it. And obviously it's gonna display the address that I selected here. To demonstrate how it's working, what amount of work that you'll have to do in order to also support ArSnap in addition to ArConnect on your dApp. So if I comment this simple import and I come back to the example, and now I try to connect, it's showing me ArConnect instead of ArSnap. And if I check the address here and I display here, it's the same. So it's literally currently one line away from supporting ArSnap on your dApp. So that's it for the demo. The ArSnap team is composed of Felix Peo. There is our amazing product designer, and he's the reason why we have such a sleek looking UI. Felix Moi helped me implement this UI, as I suck very much at CSS, on the wallet, and then myself implemented the rest of the ArSnap project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for presenting and working on this. As you said, the community of people using MetaMask is massive, and it would be great to bring some of those users over to the Arweave ecosystem and provide them with a nice experience. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
So yeah. Okay. And now we'll get into some of the projects that are currently participating in this cohort of the Open Web Foundry. So we'll start with Amon, who will be presenting NFT Brewery, which is a solution for web developers to easily create and manage NFTs across multiple chains. So if Amon, if you can come up to one of the mic stands up here. Perfect.
All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. Let me just share my screen. And thank you for the opportunity, Jesse. Appreciate that.
Of course.
Let me just turn off my video as well to preserve bandwidth. So, okay. So we are the NFT Brewery. And what we do really well is to bring businesses into the Web3 world and enable NFT experiences for them. And we just heard the folks from Pianity saying, and Jesse, you mentioned that there's 30 million people on MetaMask, and that's massive for sure. But if you look at the Web3 opportunity that's in front of us, Goldman Sachs stated that to create engagement with Web3 is an $8 trillion opportunity worldwide. And to get there, what we need to do is bring 3 billion people into the fold of Web3. And that's not going to happen all by itself. You need a lot more simplification of the UIs, a lot more simplification of the complexity that surrounds blockchain technology. And that's exactly what we do. We simplify everything to reimagine audience engagement. And if you think about it, why is blockchain the best tool and technology to enable that? If you think about it, today you have platforms like Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter, and none of them talk to each other at all. So these Web2 companies just cannot be interoperable without a layer of Web3 component in there. And enabling that Web3 component requires a huge amount of reimagination for these companies. And that is, and when you start to reimagine the world using Web3, that starts to open up unique experiences that will drive the next generation of growth. So when you think about the digital natives coming along, like the Gen Zs after the millennials and the Gen Alphas after that, they are going to be extremely, extremely comfortable with Web3 technologies. And to bring them into the fold of existing infrastructure requires massive amounts of work. And we understand that, creating NFTs probably is not that big of a deal, but to create NFTs at a large scale for an enterprise play is still not a trivial problem that has been solved, right? So that's where we bring in our technologies, and what we are doing is really creating a full set of APIs that interconnect with multiple blockchains. So today we support ETH and EVM protocols like Polygon, Avalanche, Immutable, and also Solana, which is, in my opinion, going to be a pretty impressive way to drive user experiences. And then again, to the problem of bringing 3 billion people into the fold of Web3, well, we provide on and off ramps with our partnership with checkout.com, a payments gateway where we can bring in payment technologies that people are used to. If you can't pay in crypto, well, there's your debit card or wire transfer or bank account, you can use it. And the third thing we do very well is we understand the compliance and IP rights and regulations very well as well. And that is something that we've really looked into a lot of the use cases. And one of the really attractive parts of building with Arweave is that those things can be actually solved in a much simpler and easier manner than how the market is looking at it today, with all sorts of contracts that really do not tie in directly into the digital assets themselves. So the idea of atomic NFTs is very, very appealing to us. What we help companies understand is that they need, when they're trying to simplify their user experiences, they need to have reliable infrastructure. And for that, we support, as I said, a lot of different chains. So what we are doing in our marketplaces is we are enabling smart contracts that can actually honor the royalties embedded into this contract as well. So how our users go through that journey is they select their artwork, they use our APIs. We also have, if you're using our marketplace product, we have a very simplified UI to guide you through this whole process of how you upload your assets, where you retrieve your content hashes, where you store your metadata, and all of that. And we, again, make it easy for them to go out and just launch their collection. As a sample workflow, when you're using our APIs, you get NFTs itself. Where are you uploading them? What are the provenance information that you need to embed into the NFTs? What kind of copyrights are there? Who are the royalty participants? Once you have that, you're trying to figure out what chains are the best for you to build on. And of course, we help you do that before launching your project. You can use our APIs to test it out on different test nets. And once you're satisfied, you can then just go out and create NFTs on demand, right? So when I say that you can create NFTs on demand, it also includes things, the different flavors of NFTs that we support, which is whether it's 721 ERC or 1155. We also support airdrops that are backed by Merkle Root itself. And again, the more use cases that come along, the more we will be able to support with our APIs as well. One of the cool things we did last week was we created a proof of excellence NFT. And this is really our use cases where businesses are starting to look at NFTs in a very different way. So this particular use case was honoring a number of folks who have been associated with the sports and entertainment industry, folks like the president of the Crypto.com arena in LA, or what you're seeing here is Lee Komorowski, who was the CEO of Cleveland Cavs. And once we start to look at how they are creating their metaversal applications, we are able to funnel in NFTs on the other side of it and start to create environments where people can not only just browse these in a metaverse fashion, but they also are attached to different and unique use cases as the organization grows and as the organization over a period of time brings in more and more utility to its for its community. And in doing that, we are also now partnering up with the likes of Intel, Microsoft, and NTT to bring Web3 to the enterprise. So Intel released this sports ebook last week, and we are featured as the only entity that can help bring and shape fan experience from the Web3 perspective. So this opens up a very, very large market for us. Again, we want to make it simple for the incumbents to really participate and start to drive their customers and their users into the Web3 world. We have a partnership with Polygon, and talking to Sandeep, it's impressive what they've built so far as well. And we are again working with their customers, and they're bringing in a lot of use cases for us to because we can handle the complexity for large scale deployment of NFT solutions. Specific to Arweave, what I really want to do over the rest of this year, over the next 6-7 months, is really try to accelerate the pathway towards atomic NFTs, and that is very important from a number of use case perspectives that we are seeing. And the biggest problem that we want to tackle in the next rest of the year is to really start to have an integrated mechanism of how you look at NFTs from a smart contract perspective, the asset itself, and the metadata, and tie them all together so that, again, when enterprises look at this, they do not want any leakages into that mechanism. And that is far from the case when you look at how the ETH and the IPFS protocols are working today. There's a lot of scope for improvement on that. And of course, if in the audience you guys are building on different kinds of smart contracts and different kinds of use cases, we would love to support them via our APIs. And definitely, please do talk to me, and we can try to figure out how we bring in this atomic NFT community into the fold as well. From our tech team perspective, Rakesh and I, we've actually worked for 13 years together, and the last 6 of them have been spent exclusively in the blockchain space, working with a number of entities. We were probably the first entity to come up with the equity on a blockchain model, and we did that for a Hollywood studio. These guys raised about $100 million right before the pandemic, and of course that has shifted now in terms of their business model. So we are trying to figure out what we do with that raise. Valerie was the first person for the crypto exchange BitTrue to be hired in the US, and she really listed a lot of very important tokens into the exchange, and we have good relationships with the overall tech community in the crypto space as well. We are also part of the Stanford Blockchain Accelerator, and as part of that, Dale is our community advisor. And also on our advisory board is Anup Nandra, who used to be the head of blockchain for AWS. And another one of our advisors is a C-suite executive at a $40 billion payments company. So the way we look at the market shaping, payments are going to be a very big part of how NFTs are being implemented. And there's a really very interesting Solana space. I think it's by Twitter, but if you go out and search, you'll see very interesting ways of how how payments are now being integrated as NFT enablers, right? So, but the good thing there is that if you look at how those solutions need to be built out, atomic NFTs will play a big role in that kind of a use case and environment. In addition to our team here, we also have a small presence in Barcelona with one of our other partners, Inlea, and they are obviously bringing a lot of use cases from Europe. We are actually working with a brewery, an actual beer brewing company, not the NFT brewery, but we are enabling them to really launch NFTs for their customers. And their minimum requirement to do that is really be able to create 100,000 NFTs on at least a bi-weekly basis to start to have any meaningful impact on their community. And then they want to use those NFTs to either provide token gated access or content or discount codes or ticketing experiences. There are so many things that they're exploring, and it's fantastic to be looking at it from our side, where we are enabling all these applications. Another quick relationship we have is with Sony and Canva, and these relationships are also very significant because when you look at NFT side of things today, there is really no way to consume these NFTs. So what do I mean by that? If you own a piece of art or if you own something that's valuable, where do you showcase it? It's the more overwhelming choice as well. You go to OpenSea and you see it there, but that's not how it should be. So we are partnering up with Sony, and they've recently come up with a really unique 3D display device that we are working with them on creating 3D NFTs. So that's another one of our use cases that we are implementing. So if any of these things excite you as either developers or partners or as community supporters, please do reach out and let's have a conversation, and we can help you get started right off the bat with our APIs or our marketplaces. And I would definitely love to make it a more of a collaborative effort, because the Arweave community is doing some things that are really, really cutting edge and advanced, and we do want to be part of that as well. So happy to be here and looking forward to contributing. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And yeah, thank you for providing that trial as well. So if you guys want to go check it out and support, you can do that as well. But yeah, 3 billion Web3 users, that would be really great. I think I read somewhere that 54% of Americans are unfamiliar with the term Web3. So we definitely have a long way to go, but I think we're getting there.
And I think of those 54%, only a handful of those would be actually partaking in this amazing technology.
I think so as well. Yeah. But we're growing fast. I think we're 550% increase in Google search terms for Web3 in the past year. So it's very good. We're on a good track.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, guys.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Aman. Next up, we're going to have Robert, who's going to present to us Oxygen Chain Earth. And what they're doing is providing incentives for companies to provide transparent data on soil remediation and water quality. So Aman, if you could just walk back to the backstage, and then Robert, if you could come up to the mic stand here. Perfect.
All right. Thank you. Hopefully everyone can hear me.
Yep.
Let me get this share screen going. All right. Well, thanks everyone for being here. My name's Robert Colvin, and thanks for introducing us to Arweave, Jesse. So I'm primarily focused on the technical side of Oxygen implementation. Oxygen's mission is to save the planet. Now, I know that's a little ambitious, but here's how. The management and recycling market will reach nearly 2.3 trillion by 2027, with billions of working solutions, many of which are centralized and flawed, inefficient, expensive, uncompliant, and incomplete. Again, it's very ambitious, which is why we can't do it alone. Arweave's mission is in line with Oxygen's. All of the information needed to take measurable action cannot be centralized. Historical, decentralized data accountability, and we're all accountable. So here's a quick short teaser Oxygen Chain video for us.
The world is in trouble, and we're all accountable. The air we breathe is toxic enough to kill us. Our forests are burning, and conservation is nowhere near the level needed. The soil is dying. Harmful chemicals and pollution are Earth's largest landowners. More untreated waste lives in the ocean than fish. The world is screaming for help. Until when? Is it possible for a cryptocurrency to help heal our world? Our planet needs oxygen. Oxygen Chain is a unique cryptocurrency that incentivizes clean action through the monitoring of our most valuable resources, while promoting conservation through recycling. Oxygen focuses on treating pollutants 1 cubic meter at a time. For every oxygen token, 22 meters of water or air will be collected, treated, and released. Tokens generated through our protocol positively impact Mother Nature, while generating new revenue streams where there was once inefficiency. It's still possible. Oxygen Chain, cryptocurrency with purpose.
Now, we're joining two worlds to make Oxygen Chain's vision a reality. There's the crypto world, which I'm primarily focused on, and then there's the environmental boots on the ground world, which is where the CEO, Daniel, is responsible for. The boots on the ground part of the Oxygen consists of a passionate team of environmental subject matter experts with over a century of experience between them in chemical analysis, remediation, monitoring of soil and water, and development of waste treatment technology and more. Corrupt environmental agencies fail to enforce water treatment standards and laws, especially in third world countries. Consequently, 80% of the world's liquid waste today is dumped into our oceans, rivers, and groundwater, untreated. This diagram, you can see that the multi-sensor parameter at the beginning has a certain number of readings that we collect, and other sensors taken at the end picks up the treated waste. With this information, we can calculate the efficiency of the system. And I'm going to just show you a quick video that illustrates how our system works at one of our participants. This is our CEO, not an actor, so give him a little bit of a break. He does have decades of experience in the environmental industry.
Oozy grass processes cashew nuts. It's an industrial process that generates an effluent. This is the raw effluent. These are the different phases of the process. This here is the raw effluent. This is the first oxidation phase, and this is the treated effluent. Goes into this chamber, and we got multi-sensor parameters installed that are generating read. This is a flow rate meter. Here is the IoT. Finally, the oxygen node throws the signals into the cloud for validation and reward.
Part of the clean water here. So I'm just going to go into our roadmap next. So initially, as you saw, we're focused primarily on the water side and the liquid treatment, also air in 2022. We have a proof of concept and MVP that we're trying to get out in the next month or so. And then we'll be following up with solids, recycling, soil treatment. And then the final phase will be conservation, which would be inviting a larger market participation, including single family homes. So Oxygen Chain team is working with multiple crypto projects at the moment, and teams within DeFi, NFT, and gaming, where we could, for example, provide data, real monitored data, back to the metaverse so that these games could create a simulation mapped to the real world of a polluted area. And then the game could offer elixirs, tools or other objects to be purchased by the players, which they can then purchase and use to burn oxygen credits into healing credits that will then treat cubic meters of relevant pollution in the real world. So that's it. We can answer the questions in the mingle session, but that's all I got.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Robert. While I have you here, may I ask, Where do these companies currently store their data on their water quality?
Yeah, so currently, none of them store it anywhere that you would know about, except maybe in some cases, the more high-tech ones would be using something like S3 on Amazon or Azure, or Google. But for the most part, most of them are using hard drives, and they're not really they don't feel like it's that important for them to keep historical data, except for the data that they get during an analysis or an audit. So they'll keep track of annual audits, and you know how these things go. You have a consultant that comes out and does an audit maybe once a year.
Mhm.
And so that's not very conducive to making sure that system's constantly doing what it's supposed to do. Not to mention, like we said in that presentation, that you have the situation where in some third world countries, it's cheaper for them to just pay off this official to look the other way versus to actually fix a problem that's inherent with the system.
Right. Makes sense. So if I just as a regular person wanted to access this data, would it be public to me?
Well, in Oxygen, it will be. So Oxygen Chain, it will be, but the state of these systems, it's not public. In fact, many of them don't even let you go into their systems. We've gone through several different, I would say, system owners before we found the one that we showed the video of, where they are actually fully on board because they want to show the world how great their cashew system is and how energy efficient and clean and blah, blah, blah. So it should be decentralized and it should be available to the public, because at the end of the day, this is the water that ends up on your beach, your riverbeds, etc.
Right. And I imagine the people who allowed you to take that video were doing a good job.
Yes, of course. I mean, our
Yeah.
first participants in the beginning, this is the way it's going to go for our roadmap. The first system owners that are going to jump on board these things are the ones that are the best performing ones. So because they want to show everybody how great they are. And the ones that are not doing a great job will probably be the last ones to come on, and they'll, to a certain degree, they'll be forced in. So we are working with some of the environmental agencies to help us, make it a little bit easier for these guys to come on board. And I would say that our map, so if you guys go to the website, you can check it out. It's not ready yet, but at least you can play around with it. We have a map, and I can kind of show that real quick. Let me just open it up. That shows you every system that's going to be on Oxygen Chain. So this is our site. And if you go to the map, you'll kind of see right now we're focused in Brazil. And if you click on one of these systems, it's going to draw you in. Again, it's not ready yet, but you'll get the idea that will show the rewards, what the sensor's output is. So input, output, basically a difference between the two. As long as it's within legal limits, we'll provide you a reward. An oxygen token will be generated. And so once all these dots start, lighting up on a map, and there's one dot that doesn't exist for an area that there's a treatment system, then people are going to start asking, why aren't you on the map, right?
Right.
So we're going to end up isolating the guys that are really not reluctant to join us, and eventually help them come around. And we are going to have a nonprofit foundation and try and have one in each country that's going to also create funding initiatives to help these different systems to either come up to par or build systems where they don't exist yet. So that's the idea.
Right. Well, I think that's great. I think that you guys are building something really important. And also, I think yourself and Daniel have a very complementary skill set, which is why if anyone's going to do this, I'm glad it's you guys.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my brother's has huge amount of experience in the environmental aspect of it, whereas I'm more heavy on the technical side, primarily in the corporate and everything else. But I am getting pretty much the team together as far as those experts that are specific to the blockchain and contract writing, etc.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Robert.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. And we have now our last presenter, who's going to be Zeiss. He's going to be presenting Curiosity, which is a platform that records your history of learning on Arweave. Hey, Zeiss.
Okay, perfect. I'm just going to share my screen for 1 second.
Perfect.
Okay, can everyone see that?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So essentially we're building on-chain learning credentials. And the idea came from two main facets, I would say. The first is this paper that was published by Vitalik and a few others a few weeks ago about a decentralized society. And essentially what they suggested was soul-bound tokens where people have different affiliations with different parts of their life. So one for education, one for different memberships, one for credentials, that sort of thing. And from there, there's kind of three main takeaways. The first is that there's a huge opportunity to build an online identity paradigm through Web3. The second is that these soul-bound tokens are the actual key to full decentralization. And that's because they provide an actual verifiable on-chain way to not only stake, but also build your own reputation. And the second thing is the education system. And there's lots of problems with the existing education system, but the four that we're focusing on is one, you have this weird relationship where costs are increasing, but the value of a degree is decreasing at the same time. Second, there's another paradox where global connectivity is at an all-time high, but there's still barriers to entry. It's not accessible for everyone. Third is that self-directed learning is not incentivized. If you go read a book or listen to a podcast or something like that, you might have gained that knowledge, but there's no system that actually recognizes that and can show that somewhere. And the last is that the education system focuses very heavily on learning derivatives. So these are like grades or standardized testing or degrees and that sort of thing, as opposed to actual learning. And that's where Curiosity came from. Essentially, we're combining these two components to build the identity system for the education side of things. And the first version of what that looks like is essentially a system where you can upload what we call proof of learnings. And these are essentially just documents that show when you actually learned something. So that can be whether you wrote a thesis paper, got a certificate from a course you did, that sort of thing. The second is this gets stored on Arweave. And from there, we can take this and build what's essentially a soul-bound token, which shows the different things that you've learned over the years and is essentially a profile showing your unique educational history. So I'm going to show a demo for 1 second of what we have so far. So mostly we have the front end built out and we're obviously still working on the back end, but this is kind of what it's going to look like. You're going to have a dashboard where you can see the total uploads that you've been through, your curiosity score, which is weighted based on different things you've uploaded and like their complexity. And based on the proof of learnings that you upload, we can then derive your core competencies based on different domains of expertise that you've shown you have. One thing we can also do is look at unique combinations that can be quite valuable. And then from here, you can kind of see the proof of learnings that you've uploaded in the past. And yeah, the initial version is basically just going to focus on the uploading. And then from there, we can go ahead and build different profiles based on that. So in the initial version, like I said, these are going to be verified mostly through the institution that awards them. And we're already working with a few interesting Web3 focused education companies that we can integrate with as the validators almost. But in the long run, we're trying to build a system where there's a peer-to-peer verification system to ensure that some of the edge cases are accounted for. So what that means is we want to build a system where if you learn anything under the sun, it can be validated by others and essentially shown to other people. And for the roadmap of what that looks like I said, the first step is the on-chain learning credentials. And then the second is this learning validation mechanism. And we have a few ideas of how that would work out. One of those is having a weighted curiosity score where people with a higher score in one domain essentially rate and review your work in a domain that you're less competent in. And then the third step, like I said, is building out these profiles, these soul-bound tokens that show your unique learning profile. And in the long term, there's some pretty cool capabilities of what we can do with a system like this. The first being, it's just really interesting to think about having an online identity that shows your unique domain of expertise represented by actual certificates, validations, and that sort of thing. The second is the search functions that companies can run on a database like this. If we have this huge data set showing who is competent in which area, companies can find that very valuable because they can then figure out who is the best person to be solving each one of their unique problems. And the big goal of this is essentially building out an education system that rewards people who are naturally curious and like learning things on their own. And that's it so far. We're obviously super early, so if you want to get in touch, feel free to reach out on Twitter. You can also reach me on the Discord through Arweave. But yeah, if this resonates with you, we would love to chat with you. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Zeiss. I wish that all of my podcast listens and book readings and YouTube videos watched could be accredited in some way. So that's very cool that you're building this. Okay, perfect. Guys, we're going to have a short mingle session now. So if you guys have any questions for any of the presenters, or if you also just are interested in collaborating on something, we're going to come down into the mingle area now. So see you guys in a second. Cheers.